Good afternoon. Come from an interesting background. I think may not be really attractive to most of you if you're just looking at plain numbers, right? I started with engineering. I started with BHEL. From there, I moved on to appliances Whirlpool, moved on to Airtel, which is a telecom company, and moved on to Murugappa Group. Now I'm in TAFE, right? 33 years, about 5 companies, which is fine. Interestingly, in none of the companies, so therefore I'm not your great, you may not love me, because in none of these companies at any point of time, in any year, we took more than 40 to 50 engineer trainees, right? In none of these companies where we recruited MBAs, that we recruited more than 15 to 20, okay? Some of it, let me tell you that when I'm conversing with you, I'm keeping those IM aside, I'm keeping those IITs aside with my apologies to Mr. Pattabhiraman. I'm keeping those RECs aside, right? It's like Aishwarya Roy or Kareena Kapoor. When they propose, hundreds of them would come forward, right? They don't look at character. I mean, we don't know. I'm not saying that Aishwarya Roy is this or that, right? There are hundreds. So therefore, I'm keeping that 80-20 principle I'm applying. I'm removing those top, the cadets of colleges, right? Or the MBA institutes, or those arts colleges, or those engineering colleges. I'm going to be talking on those colleges where we normally went to, from where we take people. Normally people tend to be with you on a longer term basis, right? Some of it I will leave it as a question. Interestingly, this is the first time I didn't bring my business card. Apologies to my professional colleagues. And first time I learned, whenever I took visiting card, I think I'd take about 50, all the placement officer would snatch away, and in a couple of days time I'll get all mails. Your speech was very inspiring. I know it's a lie. Right? It was thought-provoking. I know it's a lie. Right? And they say that we can't get a better speaker than you've done for our convocation, which means that the minute that you end up there for convocation, I'm gone. Right? There are mails after mails after mails. Right? No offense meant. I think if that's your job, if that's what you're expected to do, that you are doing a job which is perfectly fine. Interestingly, when I think I checked with Amarnath before coming here, he said there are about 20-25 promoters of the colleges, correspondents, chairman, etc., which is very good to be, which is very good. Plus, there are some teaching faculty, right? If I was not in this corporate job, I'm sure that I would have ended up like any one of you, either as a placement officer or as a professor, but not as chairman. Right? I'll try to rush because the rest of the speakers are not prepared. I did my preparation, otherwise I look very unprepared, right? So I did some preparation. I think I'll park some thoughts within you. If one thought is able to create some trigger, try to make a change, I think that should be adequate. Because in half an hour, 40 minutes, you're not going to change the world. But if I'm able to change one dimension in thinking, it will serve the purpose. Right? I think you can get on to theoretical definitions about what employability is all about. I think the person who's sitting over there, sorry? Okay, thanks. The person who's, I think that's a technology gap, I'm used to seeing the board, okay. I think my friends over there will not do that, right? There are very definition, it's a simple definition. Employability is about, if he is coming to my workplace, whether when I try to communicate something, he is able to pick up and move on. I'm making it very simple, right? I got my colleague Chaya sitting over here. If I tell her that you need to pick up the PED engineers, right, from these type of industry, PED is production engineering department, right? If a person who is joining from the college, joining an engineering auto industry, if she does not understand the definite difference between what a PED department is, what a production department is, it's a concern. Am I connecting? Employability is all about that. Employability is about understanding things which are fundamental. Okay? I'm parking a question to all the professors and teachers over here. I'm not an engineer by profession. Okay? So engineering profession was saved. When I interview graduate engineer trainees, I think a couple of days back they told me there's an IIM boy who has completed his internship. We would like to offer him a pre-placement offer. One of the most reputed engineering colleges in Tamil Nadu, I don't want to name the institute, mechanical engineer, right? I end up asking this question because I don't understand when I read newspaper, but I keep asking this question to a mechanical engineer. I asked him this question, what is a McPherson stud suspension? Tell me what's it all about? How is it different from a conventional suspension? Please answer the question yourself. all the mechanical engineering professors or teachers or students, etc., etc., 9 out of 10 were unable to answer. Even my clarity, I got it from one Murli Krishna, who has been with us almost for 25, 30 years. I asked him what this is all about. The fourth generation car has got this fundamental mechanism. How many mechanical engineer can answer? Then I asked him, okay, I'll skip this question. Then he said, what else are you interested in? He said, IC engine. Right? Now I further asked him a question. Tell me what CRDA is all about. Okay? Then easy. He'll say common rail diesel engines. Okay? Now I asked him, what is the difference between a conventional engine and a CRDA engine? No answer. He smiled. Sir, I forgot. What did you forget in, 4 years of engineering learning, right? And you do not know what CRDA engine is all about, what employability we are talking about. Okay? Now, just parking a thought in your mind, whose responsibility is it? Fortunately, unfortunately, no, you can ask the question later, because I will get caught if you ask me more mechanical engineering questions. Okay? Now, whose responsibility is this? Fortunately, IT has been able to neutralize the engineering what you learn. A metallurgist does not know what a casting is after he joins Hexaware or after he joins TCS, which is perfectly fine. Right? But only 70, 80%, 60% get taken into IT industry. I'll come back to the slides. Right? Now, you cannot survive with iPhone without having a roti or without having idli, right? They need to be industry. You need to live in a house. You need to have those core industries. If the core industries, if you want the buildings not to become like Maulivakam, you require fundamental civil engineering people. Okay? So therefore, when you're talking about employability, please prepare engineers who can do their job. Like he said, the 10th standard boy can start doing a Java program. You can learn many things from Google. Right? I think our job lies in, when I'm talking about employability, please prepare your students on fundamentals. I can get on to MBA with more examples. Right? I'll keep coming back to that. So when I'm talking about employability, I'm talking about preparedness of somebody mentally in terms of fundamentals of the subject so that the person can get on to the job. Am I connecting? To me, employability is all about that. Interestingly, we produce about this one data. Don't question me where you get the data from. I think the 2 surveys, it can differ by about 10%, 5%, depends on what sample, from where they took, at what time frame they took. India produces about 31 lakh graduates a year. It is twice as much as US, 3 times that of UK. My son went, I'll tell you again about our education system. My son was doing his electronics and communication. Again, I get into this interesting discussion. I asked these electronics engineers, what is the difference between a microprocessor and a microcontroller? No answer. I asked my son, 4 years of engineering. And I did my project. I think I did not sleep for about 3 weeks before I completed my dissertation. So I asked him what the project they're doing. Appa, don't bother with me, sir. Things I asked him what. He said, 10,000 rupees, I get a project report. It hurts. Okay, this is a thought that I'm parking. Even if 10 students out of 100 are picking up something where they want to learn, I think as an institution, as an organization, it is our willingness to provide support. That's what will stand you consistently successful. There are people like me who are last benchers, who are wanting to bunk, etc. Ignore 20%, 10% like me. There are about 30, 40% of the people who are wanting to seriously learn. I think the responsibility of all of you sitting over here, it's that. I told you 80% of jobs are created by the IT industry, but once you will come to a point at some point of time where you will hit to the plateau. Okay, either numbers, or I was just sharing with them about 4 years back we had to compete in an engineering campus. Now for the past 4 years I get day 0. There are people, medalists, who wait for our organization to come over and they would like to come and join our company. They don't go to CS till San Jose after 2-3 years. To them that does not matter. One of the best retention are the people that whom we have recruited as GETs and whom we have trained up. Okay, so the rest of them go to 20% of them go to the rest of the industry. In addition to your IT professors, IT teachers, there are mechanical engineering teachers, there are civil engineering teachers. I think every one of them is a science by itself. Interesting. I think this again is this is something that they need to share with HR forum. They keep talking about, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the word GenY. The present day generation is like this. So they don't know, they're not serious, they are not like this. Hundreds of things. Had you asked my father, he's not anymore, he's not alive. Had you asked him, he would have said the same thing about me. Right? I have my son, if he gets children, 10 years, 5 years later, he is also going to say the same thing. Okay? There is nothing different about them. Like he gave the statistics, no? The learnability is the most when you are young. I think it's a question of, do you have a choice about your children today? Most of you have children, right? We are so quiet. Do you have a choice about your children today? No, right? So, the important thing is to work around what they expect, okay? So, the first myth is branding them as saying that they are not good, they are not responsible, etc., 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 right? Today, don't look at me, average age of my company is 31. 70% of the people who work in the company are less than 30 years, and we are exporting to about 90 countries. I don't know how many of you are from Madurai. There's a factory about 10 kilometers from here. The export models only get done here. 90 countries where the same employees from Madurai come and sit down there, assemble a tractor. The people who design the tractor, it gets exported out of that. So the present generation is as good as the past generation is as good as the present generation. So don't get carried away with the myths, right? Only thing is, those days I didn't have a mobile, right? Used to call somebody at 8 o'clock in the night in the landline, watching whether mother is around or not. Today don't bother, there's a mobile phone, right? They just pick up the mobile phone, send the messages, they speak at 12 o'clock, you have no control. Only symbols have changed, nothing else has changed, okay? Then again, I said that they're getting carried away by the institute's brand. I said that what was the kind of, reply got when I actually questioned somebody who's from one of the top ranking institute. So if you have a limitation of, if you have a mindset limitation of the kind of institute where you come from, where the kind of institute where I'm teaching, or where I belong to, or which I'm promoting, it's only temporary. I think it's a question of what you want to make out of the institute, what you want to make out of the students. I think a lot is left over there. Diversity is picking up. I think a lot of women are coming into employment. I don't want to get into background. I think it's going to take more time. What makes the candidate employable? Okay. One is the knowledge. Where's your role? Where's your role? Can you do anything about an attitude? Very little. Very little. There are certain types of personalities who will be fit into certain type of jobs. There are certain type of personalities who will fit into, for example, people who love teaching will not like to get into managerial job. Yes or no? Now, attitude, all that what you can do is communicate to them, right? If you're taking life easy, life will also take you easy. Correct? All that you can do is to plant some thoughts. Okay? So I'll keep that aside. Who will try to build skills? Who will talk about the tractor design or an auto design or a transmission design? Who will teach them? You? My tractor will not run. My car will not move. Why? Because you are a person, you are a concept fundamental person. Yes or no? You are not an application person. If you, the labs, what you have in the colleges which you proudly take me around, those are sample labs which are there to communicate to the students. These are the fundamental things what you need to learn. Here also I will come. Instead of teaching fundamentals, you will talk about esoteric things, esoteric projects. A car which runs on water, not on fuel. I've seen this experiment being done in one of the colleges in Chandigarh. A vehicle which runs on water, we are trying to generate steam out of that, and the steam will push the engine. I mean, you need to teach fundamentals. Therefore, skills also you cannot deploy to students, right? So what else can you do? What else can you do? Simple, sir. You are there to impart knowledge to them. Right? To me, it is 70% is all about imparting knowledge. If you impart the appropriate knowledge, you are making them employable. Now, question that for yourself, are you knowledgeable enough? If you're not knowledgeable enough, you should not have come to this job. It's like me. See, I'm inadequate in some facets of my own area, but then I'm conscious about it, I openly accept, and I learn to do something about it. Learning doesn't stop for us. I think I would be as good as some of your HODs, as good as some of your principals in terms of age or in terms of experience, but learning doesn't stop. Okay? Knowledge is all about that. Are you knowledgeable? Are your students knowledgeable? If your students are knowledgeable, let me tell you, we will love your campus. I was just giving an example to Professor Pattabhiraman before coming here. There is one rural campus which is beyond 50 kilometers from Coimbatore, some 10 kilometers, I don't name the college. 10 kilometers from 20 kilometers from E Road. We keep going there. We love the students. You know, one of the senior R&D person who who's an REC and spent about 30 years MTech from IIT. When we took him to the college twice for campus recruitment, you know what was his feedback? I haven't seen better mechanical engineering students than from this college. They are not good-looking guys. They are not good-looking girls. Some of them are, you know, daughters or sons of laborers, people doing menial jobs. I mean, hats off to them. Hats off to those professors and the students. The kind of learnability, it actually attracts us all the time to go to the campus. They don't provide us vehicle. They don't provide us good boarding. All that we don't need all that. Are you getting me? We want knowledgeable people. Now, if you're talking about employability, it is all about that your campus creating that employability through knowledge. I think I've spoken enough about this. I think they would have some psychometric tests to pick up the right kind of students. So they will try to get the type of people that whom they require. All that you can do is you can talk about commonsensical attitude. Be a good citizen. Okay? Respect elders. Respecting elders is not saluting in the morning, good morning, good morning. Respect their thought, respect their wisdom, right? Those are the few things that you can speak to. You cannot really change their attitude. You cannot tell, I can't tell my son that don't look at Facebook at 12 o'clock at night, he'll tell me to take a walk. Right? The attitude building is not about that. Attitude building is about sincerity, hard work, wanting to learn. Right? He asked the question, how many of you tell the students I do not know? Right? Now once he learns from you, even a learned person cannot know a few things, he imbibes that. Attitude building is all about that. I've spoken about this curriculum on skills and knowledge. Please, okay, now I'll tell you. This is again very interesting. About 10 years, I think last 10 years has been auto connected industry. I must have visited about 15 campuses, okay? 15 campuses at different point of time, meeting the principal, meeting the HOD mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, etc., etc. Not once principal has ever come to my room. Not once. About 3 months back, I had a principal visiting from an engineering college along with the promoter. Now, what is this about? We are dependent on you, you are not dependent on us. Are you getting me? Now, even a vendor who supplies components to us, we treat him as a partner. Yes or no? To an education institute, you are my partner and I am your partner. In this entire process, aren't we not equal? Yes or no? Right? As a placement officer, you come to me only when the placement season comes. Rest of the year, what do you do? What do you do rest of the year? I mean, you may take classes. That's a different thing. But at the end of the day, it's a partnering relationship. Right? Then third one, I'll ask you a question. We hunted around to do an MTech for our Madurai plant and Chennai. We must have gone to about half a dozen colleges. Couple of colleges, our professors will not come and work on Saturday. Where are we? Right, where are we? I think the students whom we produce are the people, I think he calls them on Saturday. Or my driver's daughter is employed in TCS. Saturday if there's work, if the boss calls, no vehicle provided. It is her responsibility to make a... End of the day, it is all about delivery. It's all about satisfying customer. Who is the customer in this process? We are your customers. Yes? Yes or no? Right? When I come to the college, when I need to meet the principal, I need to wait outside the room for about 15-20 minutes or half an hour. Right? When he comes to my office, I inform the security there is a senior person coming. There is no parking space. If his vehicle is coming, allow him to get dropped in the vehicle. Right? There's somebody in the reception, they'll tell you that yes, so-and-so is waiting for you. We try to meet up people on time. Where are we? We are not in a context when there was only GenY Engineering College, GCT, PSG, Tyagaraja College. We are not in a situation where we had only about 15 engineering colleges across the state or across any state for that matter. Usmania University, name the college, Dhanbad School of Mines, Dhanbad. Right? Where are we? To do educational tie-up to make our people learn, we had to run around. I think she ran around 5 education institutions in and around Madurai to tie up. We are willing to pay the fees, right? One more offer that I made, which has not been taken up by anybody. So all of you don't come and tell me to give me the offer, the offer. I said, please send your faculty to our company to be there for 2 months or 1.5 months, or to learn, to be part of us and do a kind of project where the professors learn. Okay? Now this has been my offer for 10 years. Not a single person has come. All that what they took away is, they took away the engines, they took away the tractors for their lab, workshops. Right? I just want to, that's what some of it may not be comfortable. But then that's a reality of life. Am I connecting? So therefore, the first part is as important. The student pick up all this from all of you. Then our people come when I get a letter where 4 students would need to be placed on the project work. Please consider them. I won't even have place for making people sit down. Right? I talk to the line person, I talk to the R&D head, or I talk to the R&D DGM, tell them that we need to accommodate these people, etc. I talk to Chaya, influence somebody over there in the plant so that they can take about 3-4 people from these and these colleges. Right? This is a real point for all of you to think through. Right? IT may not encourage because they take in 500 numbers, etc., etc. But there are other industries, and what is the kind of response that I get from the other side? I just wanted to plant a thought in you. Technology is an aid, not a solution. Right? My students can operate computer, but he will not know what McPherson suspension is all about. It doesn't make sense. Technology is there as to provide, it's an enabler. It's not an end. Okay? Concept understanding, that's what is required to be taught by a teacher. Now this is a study done by NASCOM. I think Mr. Purushothaman is here. I shouldn't be talking much about that. They're actually working on a project which will improve the employability. Once the NOS is put in place, the employability will get improved by about 20%. I think it's done in the context of IT industry, IT sector. Again, a core sector also, some study has been done. By doing this, what happens is the employability of the engineers who pass out become better. I'm becoming conscious of the time, so I'm rushing a little bit. Look at that. Look at what kind of space that agriculture occupies. The dark blue, what you see is all about agriculture. Then the red, what you see is about industry. Right? Then there is a construction and there is services. IT industry occupy one for the space, but the employment opportunity is far higher. But then there is other space existing. That's the very purpose of communicating this. Spoken about infrastructure. Again, I give an example. When I visit your machine shops, most time that I find lathes over there. Lathes are fine. Lathes teach them fundamentals. But when they come to the factories or when they come to our machine shop, they find something very different. Now, someone will have to spend time, if you need to take that forward, leave alone the investment part. Right? That's important. So, infrastructure. Yeah. Thanks very much. Faculty capability, I think I have spoken sufficiently, right? Please come forward to industry. First time, it's like proposing to a girl. I think some of the youngsters who are here are proposing to a boy, right? Doesn't take place the first time. Does it? How much have you made your choice? Right? If you made your choice, it doesn't, even your son's or daughter's proposal doesn't takes place the first time. It builds out of relationship. The principal who visited my office for 3 months back, right? Twice, 3-4 times the person must have visited. I am psychologically committed to doing something to the college. Okay? Why don't you start, why don't you build that up? The more I feel welcomed, I will welcome you. Yes or no? Right? I think that's important. As much as investing in the students, I think this is for the promoters, I think we need to invest in the faculty. It's important. It's an enabler. Only when my parents behave with proper attitude, I will also start behaving with proper attitude. Yes or no? I still remember some professor's name. I still remember some professor would sleep in the class. Right? I think the investment is important. Curriculum also, I think you need to, these are the things that you need to look at when you're talking about factors for employability. It's a point for introspection. I can leave all these slides with Anbu, any of those members, I think you can pick it out of that. There's nothing confidential or there's nothing, even the statistics, whatever they provided. Inculcating skill deployment, I think we should, as much as that we are able to drive best practices, I think you should be able to drive best practices in the institution wherever that you're working. Right? I spoke about deployment of faculty to industry. Please open up. You have to give up some vacation. Right? Though I work 5 days a week, I am available in the office on 6 days a week basis. I think if you need to see results for yourself, for your institution, there has to be a sacrifice. I still remember old Indira Gandhi's 20-point program statement. I think some of the younger people may not remember. There is no substitute to hard work. Okay? I think that is something that needs to get into students, get into faculty, get into the institution. Percentage of practitioners faculty. Please take practitioners who are out of industry. I met somebody who has worked in, I don't remember which industry, 20 years with Tata Steel, right? 10 years he's coming and teaching. There's a lot of connectivity. I'm not saying that replace all faculty with practitioners, then all those who are doing PhD will have problems. I'm not saying that. You need to have a reasonable distribution of practitioners in your industry, right? Encourage technology. Right? Don't go into esoteric technology, technology which is appropriate. You will come to know only when you start visiting industry. I think you'll be able to take more session on, I think he's going to be talking on accreditation. Don't make your, can I take just a minute more? Don't make your institution an economy generating model. It's important. You have made your investment. You're there to provide support for that. But then if you want long sustaining economy model, right? The fundamental fabric needs to fall in place. I was just told that 70, 80 engineering colleges are for sale. Sendil wanted me to buy a couple of them. I said if I had the capability, I would not have come into HR function. Right? Things will get phased out if you're not ready to prepare ourselves. Right? Importing knowledge, I said your job is to only import knowledge, import relevant fundamental conceptual knowledge. Very important. That's what we are looking for. We are not looking for angels. Our job is to convert the knowledge into skills, and of course a person who has the right attitude will grow in our system. We have processes, system and the culture to make it happen. Finally, it's linked to money. Right? If you have proper attitude, you are a great manager. If you're a great manager, you become a great leader. If you're a great leader, you start growing in the company. It's all about that. So I think I've spoken enough about that what you look for. I think creativity, communication, teamwork, problem solving, basic numerical ability, leadership, adaptability. Okay? Even if the students do not possess that, we will invest in them and building it up. Right? These are some of the points that I wanted to communicate. If there are any questions, I will take the questions later, I think once the sessions are over. Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks for the patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Muthukumar.